Hello and welcome to Learn Page by Page. I'm Sally and in this video I'm going to cover BODMAS. What we will do is we'll work through these 4 examples together, and I've saved the most challenging one down here for last. It contains a few calculations that stump many students, but I will break it down step by step and then you'll be able to solve it with confidence. So do make sure you stay with me till the end and you'll be able to tackle even the most trickiest versions of these questions. So let's get started. Well, what actually is BODMAS? BODMAS is for you. It purely tells you the correct order in which you should carry out mathematical operations. There are other versions. You might hear of it as BIDMAS, BEDMAS, and probably the version that's very different is PEDMAS, and that's because the P will stand for parentheses, whereas the B in BODMAS is brackets. But I think that's quite universally understandable, so I'm going to stick with calling it BODMAS. Now, what does each term mean? Well, I've already clarified that the B is for brackets. Now, the O could be order, but I think it's better to think of it as the others. And examples of others are things like this: 4 squared, the square root of 16, x squared. Now the next two are divide and multiply, but you need to think of these two as the same thing. They're just the opposite of each other, and you do them in the order from left to right that they come in the calculation. So if you get 8 times 4 divided by 2, even though the division is first in BODMAS, you still do the multiplications first. So you would do 8 times 4, then you would divide that by 2. And that works exactly the same for add and subtract, which are the last 2 letters. They are just the opposite of each other. So if you get a calculation which is 6 minus 4 plus 2, you do the subtraction first. So you would do 6 take away 4, 2, then plus 2, and you would end up with 4. Now let's work through these examples. You can see I've started on a clean sheet. Still write out BODMAS and put a line to separate the divide and multiply. Let's examine the first one. We have 7 plus and then brackets 10 minus 9 divided by 3. So because the brackets come first, we know we have to do the brackets. But inside that bracket is a subtraction and a division. And we look at BODMAS, we definitely do the division before the subtraction. And that will give us 7 plus 10 stays the same, minus stays the same, and then 9 divided by 3 is 3. And that gives 7 plus 10 minus 3 is 7. That will equal 14. And there's your answer. You'll notice I use these arrows here, and that's because we're going on stage by stage. But when I get to the final answer, I put an equal sign in. The next one, let's examine that. We have a bracket with a divide in it, and we've also got 4 squared and 3 squared. They are the others, but the bracket comes first, and so therefore that's the one we do first. So you rewrite the 4 squared because you haven't done that yet, and the 3 squared. Now the bracket, 15 divided by 3 is 5. We can take that out of the bracket because we've solved that. Now we're going to do the others, the 4 squared and the 3 squared. So 4 squared is 16, because that's 4 times 4, minus 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, that's 9, plus 5. And that goes on to be 16 minus 9 is 7, plus 5, that's 12. Now the next one, we have a bracket, and again there's another. So we're going to do the bracket first, and then we would do the square root of 16. So we rewrite the square root of 16. We haven't done anything with that yet. The divide sign, and 7 minus 5 is 2, and all over 25 divided by 5. Now we're going to do the square root of 16, which is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16, divided by 2, all over 25 divided by 5. And that will equal 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 25 divided by 5, that's 5. There's your final answer. Now let's tackle this last one. You can see I've popped a couple of multiplication signs here before, and that is because 3 squared, which is next to the square root of 4, there is an invisible multiplication sign in between the two. And the same as the square root of 4 next to that bracket, there's an invisible multiplication sign there. So we can rewrite that as 3 squared multiplied by the square root of 4 multiplied by 8 minus 6 plus 18 all over 4 plus 2. When you write it out fully like that, you'll be far more comfortable. Now we have to do the bracket first. So 3 squared multiplied by the square root of 4 multiplied by 8 minus 6 is 2 plus 18. Still all over 4 plus 2. Now here we need to do the others, which is the 3 squares and the square root of 4. We're going to bring that down here, and 3 squares is 9, multiplied by the square root of 4 is 2, multiplied by 2 plus 18 all over 4 plus 2. And now we should be able to go on. 9 times 2 is 18, times another 2 is 36, plus 18 is 54, and then 4 plus 2, that's 6. And that will go on to equal 9. And there's your final answer. And that's about everything. If you found this video helpful, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like to see more lessons, then do hit the subscribe and ding the bell to be notified of more videos. Thank you and look forward to seeing you next time.